Chapter 1. The most popular sports in the world.
What are the 5 most popular sports in the world? Some of the answers may surprise you. 1. Football, soccer in the U.S., is the world's most popular sport. Today, about 3.5 billion people watch or play football. Football is popular in Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, North America, almost everywhere. Fun fact: in a professional football game, players run about 5 miles, 8 kilometers. 2. The world's number 2 sport is cricket. Cricket is originally from the UK, but today it is also popular in Australia, New Zealand, some African countries, and some Caribbean countries. In India and Pakistan, cricket is more popular than football. About 3 billion people around the world watch or play cricket each year. Fun fact: 400 million people, 40% of India's population, watch important cricket games on TV. 3. Field hockey is number 3. Approximately 2 billion people play or watch field hockey, mostly in Asia, Europe, Australia, and Africa. In the United States, field hockey is mainly for high school girls. Fun fact: field hockey is a very old sport. In Egypt, 4,000-year-old drawings show people playing field hockey. Of course, the rules of the game are different today. 4. Next is tennis. Today, there are roughly 1 billion players and spectators of tennis around the world. Tennis is originally from France, but today it is very popular in the United States, Asia, Australia, and Europe. Fun fact: the longest tennis game lasted 11 hours and 5 minutes. 5. Table tennis, ping pong, is popular around the world, with about 900 million players and spectators. Today, table tennis is especially popular in China, Korea, and Singapore. Fun fact: in table tennis, the ball can go more than 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour. There are many popular sports around the world, but these are the top 5. What is similar about all of these sports? They're fun, they're fast, and they use a ball. Is that why the expression "have a ball" means have a lot of fun? Maybe.
Chapter 3. Dream homes.
People have very different ideas for their dream home, their perfect house or apartment. Some people dream of a simple house in a special place. Others want a large house with every convenience. Is your dream home similar to any of the dream homes below? Mukesh Ambani, a businessman in India, is the owner of the most expensive house in the world. Ambani's dream house is 27 stories high, so it has room for everything his family needs and wants. Mr. Ambani owns a lot of cars, so the first 6 floors of his house are just for cars. Another floor of the house has a movie theater with seats for 50 people. 2 floors of the house are for a health center with a gym and a swimming pool. Another floor is for guests of the Ambani family. The 4 floors at the top of the building are just for the Ambani family. From there, they have a view of the Arabian Sea. Henry David Thoreau, an American writer, lived from 1817 to 1862. At the age of 28, he built his perfect house. It was a very small house, just 10 feet by 15 feet, 3 meters by 4.5 meters. Inside, there were just 3 chairs, a bed, a table, and a small desk. The location of his house was very important to Thoreau. He built his house in the woods, close to a beautiful lake. Dikembe Mutombo, a professional basketball player, built a very different type of dream home. Mutombo grew up in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but he moved to the United States to study. He wanted to be a doctor, but instead, he became a famous basketball player. Mutombo's dream home is in the Congo, and it has beds for 150 people. It also has an emergency room, many exam rooms, and some beautiful gardens. Mutombo didn't build his dream home for himself. Instead, he built it for the people in his native country. Mutombo's dream home is a hospital.
Chapter 4. Kiss, bow, or shake hands. People greet each other in many different ways. We asked 4 people to describe the ways they greet people in their country. Here's what they wrote.
I greet people differently depending on the situation. In formal situations, I usually shake hands, and when I meet someone for the first time, I almost always shake hands. It's important to shake hands firmly. When I greet casual friends, I just say hi. For close friends, I usually give them a hug. It's a little different for men, though. Where I live, it's not very common for male friends to hug each other. They do other things like the fist bump. That's when 2 people touch fists. Sandra, U.S.
In formal situations, or when I meet someone for the first time, I shake hands. It's important to shake hands firmly and look the other person in the eye when you greet them. I always hug my friends. Hugging is perfectly acceptable. It's okay for men to hug other men, for men to hug women, and for women to hug other women. Kamal, Turkey. In a formal situation or when I meet someone for the first time, I always shake hands. When I greet a male friend, I give him a hug and a pat on the back. When I greet a close female friend, I give her a small hug and a kiss on the cheek. My female friends greet each other in this way too. Octavio, Venezuela.
When I meet a friend, I greet them with a Y. I put my hands together in front of my chest and bow slightly and say sawadi, which means hello. In formal situations, some people still use this traditional Thai greeting, but these days, more and more business people shake hands. Times are changing. Noi, Thailand.
Chapter 5. A city without oil.
The United Arab Emirates, UAE, is a country with a lot of oil. Oil brings the country billions of dollars each year. So why is the UAE building a city that uses very little or no oil? The answer is simple. Oil will not last forever. But there is another resource people can use instead of oil: the sun. In fact, engineers are now building a new city that uses mostly solar energy for its power. The city is called Masdar, and it is about 20 miles, 32 kilometers from Abu Dhabi. one of the largest cities in the UAE. If it is a success, Masdar will be the first city in the world that uses little or no oil. Masdar is a small city, only 2.3 square miles, 6 square kilometers. In the future, it will hold 50,000 people, more than 1,000 companies, and a university. Its streets are very narrow. The houses are close to each other. The shade from the houses helps keep the streets cool. There are no cars on the streets of Masdar. Because the city is so small, people can walk to most places. If they get tired, they can use the PRT, Personal Rapid Transit. These small, solar-powered cars move underground like a subway. The cars have no drivers. People just tell the car where they want to go, and it takes them there. Masdar will reuse as many resources as possible. It will reuse about 80% of its water and change most of its waste into more energy. People in Masdar are even using building materials that they can reuse in the future. Can this city really be successful? No one knows. But if it is, there could be other low-energy cities around the world in the future.
Chapter 6. You Can't Please Everyone. Stories about Nasruddin, a teacher and philosopher from the 1200s, are popular in many countries. These stories make us laugh and also teach us a lesson about people.
One day, Nasruddin wanted to take his young son into town. "You can ride the donkey," he told his son, "and I'll walk next to you." So, Nasruddin's son got on the donkey, and they started down the road into town. A little while later, Nasruddin and his son came across some people on the road. The people looked at the boy on the donkey with disapproval. One person said, "Look at that healthy young boy. Can you believe today's young people? They have no respect for their parents. That boy rides on the donkey, and his poor father has to walk." When the boy heard this, he was very unhappy. He asked his father to ride the donkey instead of him. So, Nasruddin got on the donkey, and the boy walked next to him. Soon, they met another group of people on the road. One person said, "Well, look at that. That poor boy has to walk while his father rides the donkey." After the people walked away, Nasruddin told his son to get on the donkey with him. "No one can criticize us now," he said. But soon they met two old men on the road. The men looked at Nasruddin and his son with disapproval. "That poor donkey looks very tired," one of the men said. Nasruddin stopped the donkey and got off. Then he said to his son, "The best thing is for both of us to walk. Then no one can criticize us." So, Nasruddin and his son walked down the road, and the donkey walked behind them. Soon, they met some more people on the road. One person said, "Just look at those fools. Both of them are walking in this hot weather, and no one is riding the donkey. How stupid they are." Nasruddin looked at his son and said, "You can't please everyone."
Chapter 7. Across the Desert.
The Sahara Desert is the largest desert in the world. It stretches across Africa from Senegal to Egypt. The Sahara Desert is an unfriendly environment. During the day, it's very hot, and at night, it's sometimes very cold. It is also difficult to find water in the Sahara. In 2006, Kevin Lin, Ray Zahab, and Charlie Engel decided to do something very difficult. They made the decision to run across the Sahara Desert, 4,300 miles, 6,920 kilometers. It seemed impossible to do, but they wanted to try. The three men liked to test themselves, and this would be a very big test. On the morning of November 2nd, Kevin, Ray, and Charlie started their trip across the Sahara. Every morning, they began running at 5 o'clock. At 11 a.m., they stopped and rested until 5 p.m. Then they ran again until 9:30 in the evening. Each day, they ran about 40 miles, 64 kilometers. Every day, it was the same thing. They got up and ran. They listened to music on their iPods, and they ran and ran. Kevin, Ray, and Charlie needed to eat a lot of food during their trip. Most people need about 2,000 calories of food each day. Kevin, Ray, and Charlie needed between 6,000 and 9,000 calories every day. That's a lot of food. They also needed to drink a lot of water. The three men had some problems on their trip, and many times they wanted to quit and go home. It was often very hot, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Celsius, during the day, and the heat made them sick. Their legs and feet hurt. Sometimes it was very windy and they couldn't see. One time they got lost. But they didn't quit. After 111 days, Kevin, Ray, and Charlie successfully finished their trip across the Sahara Desert. They hugged each other and put their hands in the water of the Red Sea. Then they ran to a hotel to take a long shower.
Chapter 8. Denmark loves bicycles.
Denmark is one of the most bicycle-friendly countries in the world. Roughly 40% of the people in its capital, Copenhagen, commute to school or work by bicycle. Why are bikes so popular in Denmark? First of all, the government is worried about pollution. Cars pollute the air, and the number of cars is growing. Denmark has a very high tax on cars because the government wants more people to ride bikes instead. Another reason for the popularity of bicycles is that Denmark is a very flat country. The highest place in the country is only 557 feet, 170 meters, so it is a very easy place to ride a bike. In Copenhagen, there are also special lanes just for cyclists. Cars must stop when a bike is crossing the road. Some places have special traffic lights to tell drivers that bikes are going to cross the road. About 20% of people in nearby towns commute to Copenhagen on their bikes. But Denmark wants to double this number. The government is planning to build bicycle superhighways. These roads will only be for cyclists. Cyclists will have special places on these highways to stop and rest or put air in their tires. Denmark is also making traffic lights friendlier for cyclists. Most people ride their bikes at about 8 miles per hour, 20 kilometers per hour. On the bicycle superhighways, people going this speed will only see green traffic lights. They won't have to stop for a red light. With these bicycle superhighways, Copenhagen may become the most bicycle-friendly city in the world. Many other cities, such as New York, London, and Guangzhou, China, are thinking about copying its plans. In fact, there is a new word for making a city more bicycle-friendly: Copenhagenization.
Chapter 9. A Passion for Cooking.
Many people are afraid to cook Chinese food. They think it is difficult to prepare Chinese dishes. Qing He Huang, a young chef, business owner, and TV star, is changing their ideas. She teaches people quick and easy ways to prepare Chinese food. Thanks to Qing He, many people around the world now love to cook Chinese food. Qing He was born in Taiwan in 1978. She first learned about traditional Chinese cooking from her grandparents. They shopped for fresh ingredients every day, and they always ate freshly cooked meals. When Qing He was 11 years old, she and her family moved to London. Because her mother often traveled for work, Qing He cooked meals for her family. Her mother taught her a little bit about Chinese cooking. Soon, Qing He started to create her own recipes. She especially loved to make rice dishes and noodle soups. Qing He studied economics in college, but her big passion was cooking. After she graduated, she started a food and drink company. She sold healthy Chinese foods and drinks to stores. In 2005, Qing He had her first TV cooking program. The next year, she wrote her first cookbook. In 2008, she starred in another TV series, Chinese Food Made Easy. For this TV show, she traveled around the UK and taught people to make simple, delicious Chinese food. She also wrote another cookbook to go with the TV show. Over 3 million people watched the TV series. Today, Qing He is famous in the UK. Her TV shows are also popular in several other countries. What is Qing He's secret to success? She creates recipes that combine traditional and modern flavors. She makes Chinese cooking fast and easy. And because she has a friendly personality, she is fun to watch on TV. Qing He is a very busy woman, but she still finds time to relax. What does Qing He Huang do in her free time? She cooks, of course.
Chapter 10. Travel more, spend less. Daniel's Cheap Travel Blog.
This was a great year for traveling. I took trips to France, Australia, and Turkey. I spent almost a month in each country. Besides the cost of transportation, I only spent $600 total for all 3 trips. How? Well, I didn't stay in any hotels, and I didn't eat in expensive restaurants. It's easy when you know the secrets to cheap travel. For my first trip, I went on a working holiday in France. Every year, farmers in France hire travelers to come and work on their farms. I slept at a farm for free, and every weekend I traveled around the country. During the week, however, I picked fruit for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Picking fruit isn't easy, and sometimes it didn't feel like I was on vacation. But I met a lot of great people, and I ate a lot of delicious food at the farm. For my next trip, I went backpacking in Australia. During the day, I went hiking, and each night I slept in my tent. Carrying a backpack and tent all day can be tiring. However, the mountains and beaches were so beautiful that I didn't think about my heavy backpack. Finally, in Turkey, I tried couch surfing. To couch surf, you join a special online network. This network connects travelers with hosts in different countries. Hosts invite travelers to sleep in their home instead of spending money on a hotel. You sleep in a bed or even on a couch. That's why people call it couch surfing. Couch surfing is a great way to meet people when you travel. All my hosts were really nice, but one guy had 2 big dogs and they were noisy. It was hard to sleep there. I have to go for now. 2 couch surfers from Canada are coming in an hour, and I need to clean my house. Happy travels!
Chapter 11. A Very Able Man.
Hirotada Ototake is a happy, successful man. He graduated from Waseda University, one of Japan's top universities. While he was a student there, he played a lot of sports. After graduating, he worked as a sports journalist. Then, in 1998, he wrote a book about his life. This book became a bestseller in Japan. Mr. Ototake, or Oto, as his friends call him, has a disability. He was born with a condition called tetra amelia. It is a rare condition, and children with tetra amelia are born without arms or legs. As a young boy, Oto's parents sent him to a regular school. They didn't want him to go to a special school for children with disabilities. Oto says that it is sometimes hard for people to feel comfortable around someone with disabilities. By going to a regular school, Oto helped his classmates learn about people with disabilities. He showed them that people with disabilities were just like them. Oto talks about this in his book, No One's Perfect. Oto believes that if you want something, you have to work hard for it. He worked very hard at school to get into Waseda University. He also worked hard at sports such as baseball, basketball, and swimming, and he worked hard to get a good job. Oto got married in 2001, and he now has 2 young sons. In 2007, he also decided to change his job. Now he works as an elementary school teacher in Tokyo. He teaches science and social studies. As a teacher, Oto believes that his students will learn that people are the same with or without disabilities. Did Oto's disability make him different? Actually, yes, it did. It taught him to be strong and to work hard, and that made him able to do many things. Oto shows us that anything is possible if you work hard enough.
Chapter 12. Protecting Cultural Traditions.
UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, wants to protect cultural traditions around the world. These traditions include types of dance, music, festivals, cooking, and more. Every year, UNESCO adds more traditions to the list. UNESCO calls these traditions intangible cultural heritage. Big Ben is a tangible example of British heritage. You can see it and touch it. But what are some examples of intangible heritage? Here are 3 of our readers' favorite intangible traditions.
In Korea, we have a beautiful tradition called Kangkang Sule, or the Korean round dance. This tradition is 5,000 years old. Under a full moon, women dance in a circle, sing, and play games all night. The songs and dances are easy to learn, so everyone can join in. Many years ago, people celebrated the harvest with the round dance. Today, this tradition brings friends together, and it is an important part of Korean culture. Sangmi, Korea.
Every June, there is an oil wrestling festival in Edirne, Turkey. The first Turkish oil wrestling festival was almost 650 years ago. It is the oldest wrestling competition in the world. Men wear leather pants and put oil all over their bodies. Then they wrestle. The winner gets a golden belt and a lot of money. At the festival, there is also food, music, and dancing. Every year, thousands of people of different ages, cultures, and regions come together for this exciting event. Adem, Turkey.
Croatia has a gingerbread tradition. In the 1500s, people in Croatia started making gingerbread, a sweet bread, and it is still very popular today. Making gingerbread is not easy, so gingerbread makers need to be very skillful. They make gingerbread in many shapes. Hearts are the most popular. Then they decorate the gingerbread with pictures and words. People often give gingerbread on holidays and for special events such as weddings. Today, gingerbread is an important part of local festivals and other special events. Gingerbread is beautiful and delicious, and it connects Croatian people to their past. Ivana, Croatia.
Chapter 13. Emergency in the Air.
On April 28, 1988, at 1:25 p.m., Flight 243 left Hilo, Hawaii. It was a 40-minute flight to Honolulu, and the weather was good. The 89 passengers were in their seats with their seatbelts on. At 1:40, the plane reached 24,000 feet, and the 3 flight attendants started serving drinks. Suddenly, at 1:45, there was a loud noise. Mr. Denon, a businessman, was in a window seat in the back of the airplane. He looked at the front of the airplane and saw a big hole. "A third of the roof was gone," Mr. Denon said. "I saw blue sky." David Kupahea was in a seat in the front of the airplane. His suitcase was under the seat in front of him. Suddenly, the suitcase flew out of the airplane. Then, a piece of metal hit his arm and cut it. The passenger next to him had a large cut on his head. "Everything was flying around. Books, paper, money," said passenger Stanford Sampson. When the pilot heard the noise, he looked back. The cockpit door wasn't there, and he saw blue sky above the passengers. The first 18 feet, 5.5 meters, of the airplane behind the cockpit were completely open. Only the floor and the passengers' seats were still there. The pilot decided to put the airplane into a fast descent. They were close to the airport on the island of Maui, and maybe he could land the airplane there. At 1:58 p.m., the pilot made an emergency landing at Kahului Airport in Maui. The passengers couldn't believe it. They were safe on the ground. What caused the emergency? It was an old plane. It made many short flights during its life. It took off and landed many times, and this weakened the plane.
Chapter 14. University admissions around the world.
What do you need to do to get into a university? Actually, it depends on where you live. Let's look at university admissions in 4 countries: Austria, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States. In Austria. In Austria, getting into a university is very simple. Getting into a university in Austria depends completely on a student's score on a national achievement exam. Subjects on this exam include German, mathematics, and a foreign language. Students who pass this exam can go to a university in Austria. In Turkey. In Turkey, high school students take a national achievement exam in March. If they pass that exam, they take another exam in June. Getting into a Turkish university depends mostly on these exam scores, but universities also consider high school grades. In Turkey, students usually study very hard for the national exam. If they don't pass the exam, they can't go to university. In the United Kingdom. Students in the United Kingdom take achievement exams when they are 16, 17, and 18 years old. Universities consider a student's scores on all of these exams. Students also provide a very short personal statement, a reference letter from one teacher, and information about their extracurricular activities. In the United States. The university admissions system in the United States is quite different from those in Austria, Turkey, and the UK. Most universities in the United States consider a student's score on a special aptitude test called the SAT. Unlike an achievement exam, an aptitude test measures a student's ability to learn. It does not measure a student's knowledge of school subjects. Most universities also look at a student's high school grades, an admissions essay, and several reference letters. Extracurricular activities, such as sports, clubs, and volunteer work, are also very important. Students often do many activities in high school so they can get into a good university.